Interlagos is among the most celebrated of all Formula One circuits. Known for its serpentine layout and dramatic elevation changes, the circuit has become home of the Brazilian Grand Prix since 1973, but for the period from 1978 to 1989. Among a few major international circuits to run anti-clockwise, Interlagos was constructed between two reservoirs on the outskirts of Sao Paulo in the 1930s, snaking around and upon itself for 4.9 miles. The year after Argentina's Carlos Reutemann won a non-championship Formula One race at Interlagos in '72, the first true Brazilian Grand Prix produced a popular victor in Emerson Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi would win the race again the following year before Carlos Pace made it 3 straight for Brazil. The event returned to Interlagos following a $15 million revamp that saw the Grand Prix circuit shortened to 2.68 miles, effectively bypassing 2 of the long track's straightaways with a plunging downhill S-bend named in honor of Ayrton Senna. Over the years, Interlagos has witnessed a number of memorable races, from the early wins by Fittipaldi and Pace to Senna's emotional victory, 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix, and the 2008 race that saw Lewis Hamilton edge Felipe Massa for the World Championship on the final lap of the season. In addition to Formula One, Interlagos has hosted international sports car, touring car events, and a variety of national series, including the Stock Car Brazil, Formula Truck, and Formula 3. Tonight, it's the LSR GT3 Series, round number 3, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Good day, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to Interlagos in the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined in the broadcast booth by driver commentator Zach Millett. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, Steve. How's it going, man?
It's going well. Looking forward to this. In fact, I didn't even have this track until recently. I haven't turned a single lap on it, at least not in the iRacing service. I've maybe in some old Formula One games back in the day, on the PS2 days, so to speak. I don't know about yourself, but it's a cool-looking layout. Certainly a challenging track, a lot of rhythm involved. Have you had any laps out here?
No, I'm the same, Steve. I don't even have the track still. If it wasn't for your stream, I'd be broadcasting completely blind here. So I'm going to have to pick this track up and give it some laps.
Well,
it looks pretty fun.
If I can do it blind, you can do it blind. It's totally fine.
It's doable.
2.62 miles, the track distance. Again, a 1-hour race here this afternoon. 77 degrees, 92% humidity. That Amazon humidity kicking in here. Partly cloudy skies, 11-mile-per-hour breeze. So we'll see if that affects these drivers in some of the corners, ends of the straightaways, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, we are in the middle of qualifying, so let's go down trackside and see where everybody's starting to stack up. Terry Crouch, to no one's surprise, fastest so far, a minute 33.005. Taking a look at it, though, I think that's a little bit faster than he ran in practice. No, did put down a 32.83. Gaston Masroni was second quick. James Vance was third fast. Brad Crouch, Dave Tamira, the top 5. Terry Crouch opting for the McLaren here for the balance of the season. Again, last week, whatever car they picked was what they were locked into. So Terry sticking with this one, fire breather itself.
I'm glad to see it, Steve. I love seeing that McLaren run well.
You know, it's been a car that a lot of guys have avoided just because it didn't really have the pace compared to a lot of the other cars. But since that big iRacing update with the GT3 car, the tire model, and the like, it's really kind of evened things up across all the manufacturers, the McLaren, the BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, you name it. They all drive differently from each other, but they all are capable of very similar and competitive lap times. So a bit of parity added to the GT series.
Yeah, it's good to see. I like seeing them as even as possible.
Gaston Masroni takes the top spot, a minute 32.863. Got a 15-minute session. We're already 6 minutes into it. Nick Ciccato, P3. Nick and Gaston both out of Argentina.
Yeah, so you know they're going to be faster.
I mean, it's kind of like a home race. I mean, they're not necessarily Brazilians, but South America, it's the same continent, I guess you could go with.
Looks like maybe these guys are going to maybe work together to maybe get a little draft on this front straightaway for a better lap.
Well, definitely
Smart thinking.
seemed that someone was trying to slow up for the other to kind of get them together, trying to lock out that front row. They've got some time to do it. Got a minute and a half a lap.
That's a good plan. I mean, why not?
Terry Crouch still hanging into that second spot, about a tenth and a half off the top time. Then it's Nick Ciccato, Brad Crouch, James Vance, the top 5. Vance running in the BMW.
The best two looking cars right there, Steve. That red Audi with the chrome wheels and Vance's paint scheme, they're beautiful.
Red Audi is Mike Piazza.
I'm kind of biased, I guess, but I don't know. That's a sharp looking car right there.
It almost looks like they match the actual Audi paint code. I mean, it's spot on.
Yeah, it does look really good. I mean, I'm a sucker for an R8 anything, but the red just really takes the body lines well with that.
Chris Elliott. Mike Piazza, is that the Mets catcher? I don't know. I've said that every single week. I don't think it's him, but we can pretend.
I really hope it's him. But I was hoping Brack and Terry were brothers too, and so much for that.
Yeah, Brack Crouch, Terry Crouch. They're not related, at least not that they're aware of.
You never know, Steve.
Just shy of 10 minutes into the qualifying session. Got 23 cars tonight. Qualifying sessions have been extended to accommodate the slightly larger fields. Thought we were going to have 40 at one point. Chris Goins, number 28 Lamborghini. Terry Crouch still out there in that second spot, trying to pull that lap time down just enough, trying to get that thing to number 1 position as it stands now. He's the one separating Masroni and Ciccato.
It's an impressive lap time, though, Steve. It looks like he's out there just running by himself, so that's just sheer pace by Terry.
Which I don't think anybody's surprised about that.
No, not a bit at this point. Terry rips. And it's one thing about Terry I've noticed is he doesn't just go out and set a fast lap. He can run that pace the entire time, the entire stint of the race. It's impressive.
Yeah, we saw that at Daytona too. Even on, granted it was light fuel, but the tires were certainly warm. Track temperature was coming up as well. Still able to throw down some decent laps, even considering those things.
Yeah, and even the radicals. The back at the Roval race, the last race of the Scarp Radical Series. Boy, he had the EOL if I remember right, and he came right up through the field just insanely fast.
See, the situation there, and it's not to discount Terry at all, is we didn't have that big of a field, so it's not like he's working through 25 cars to get up front. But either way, yeah, starting in the back, cut right through and ended up winning that race. The impressive part is he beat you on the last lap.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the last lap, but yeah, that was impressive. Wow, Terry got it close. Look at that lap time.
Phew, down to 10 one-thousandths of a second.
Almost a tie for third place.
Pretty darn close. Terry drops it to the side of the track and exits the car. He's going to try one more time. Maybe wasn't happy with that. Wants to try with some fresh rubber, which is interesting because it's going to take, I don't know, they really don't have the best pace until they've got a couple laps on them. So we got Chris Harvey, Chris Elliott, and Kevin Blue in the chat.
What's up, guys?
Just a few minutes remain in the session. Gaston Masroni currently P1, then it's Terry Crouch, less than a blink of an eye behind. Josh Lucas third, Nick Cucato fourth, Brad Crouch fifth, James Vance now back to P6. No Andrew Locke tonight.
I don't see Locke. I don't see Blaze.
Brandon Domain of the BMWs, 18th quick so far. Diego Rios saying, "Vamos, Masroni," in the stream chat. Thanks for jumping in here, Diego. Terry's still on the racetrack. I don't see him, unless he pulls something out of his hat here. I think he's going to start outside front row.
In this style of qualifying, Steve, does it let you finish your lap if you cross the line before time expires?
Yeah, I think it gives you a full 2 minutes, I believe. I know Kevin Blue has told us in the chat previously how much extra time it gives you, but I think it's a couple of minutes, so you will be able to complete a lap. Again, time has expired officially here, so Terry should be able to finish out his lap. He's in turn 10 right now. Kevin Blue says, "This is going to be tough for Gaston tonight." Curious as to why he would say that. I mean, it's not going to be a pushover. Terry Crouch is going to be nipping at his heels all night long, but again, this could kind of be a home race for Masroni, and I know it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Oh, it's my home track. Well, it does mean something, because places like Watkins Glen, for me and Zach Millett, we run much better there because, well, that's our home track, and let's go run the Glen. It's so fun. We just naturally have more laps there because we choose to, and that typically, running those laps makes you faster.
Yeah, I'm thinking him and Terry and possibly Josh and Nick. It's going to be pretty tight running at the front of this pack. It's going to be great to watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it. Won't be long here. Just wrapping things up here from Interlagos. Looks like everyone has completed their laps. We'll be right back. Timing and scoring just finishing up here from Interlagos. We'll have your starting grid here momentarily. Alfredo Tricarici says, have a good transmission. I think Google Translate's getting us there, but I think he meant have a good broadcast. I think message received. Thank you. Gracias. And following up on Gaston Masroni, he has the EOL that he's going to have to contend with. So that's why that pole position not as beneficial as we thought. So let's take a look at our starting grid tonight. It is Gaston Masroni awarded the pole position from his lap time, though he will go to the rear at the start with a lap time 1 minute 32.863. Terry Crouch will inherit the top spot. Pretty fast lap for Terry as well, though. No slouch, 10/1000ths of a second shy. He starts second. Third is Josh Lucas. Fourth goes to Nick Ciccato. Fifth, Brad Crouch. P6 goes to the Canadian James Vance. Seventh, David Tamira, Indonesian Racers. Number 8th position is going to be Alexis Mendrakia. Starting in the 9th position, it's Danielle Clar. Danielle Clar. And then Randall White starts P10 and TLD SimSport Machine. Dave Seats starts 11th with Limitless Motorsports. Kevin Burrows, 12th. Kevin Blue rolls from the 13th spot. Chris Pio out of Florida is going to start 14th. Sean Roberts with Shenandoah Shine starts 15th. And catcher Mike Piazza starts 16th. Chris Goins, number 28 entry, will roll from the 17th starting position. Brandon Domain will be 18th. Andy Spicer starts the 19th spot. Nick Barista, 20th. Justin T. Wilkinson, 21st. Nick Simone, 22nd. Travis Martin, 23rd. And Bill Mulfeld credited with 24th. Your starting grid here from Interlagos. Field still on the grid, getting ready to pull away. Man, usually I have to rush to get through the starting grid. This time they're still in the pits. Well, it's a shortened parade lap too, but they're still sitting there waiting.
Well, I see the lights come up like that. I was thinking maybe a standing start. How great would that be?
I'm sure it was talked about.
That would be fantastic.
And we start to roll. Again, Terry Crouch jumps to the point. Gaston's going to have to go to the rear. That is a win penalty for last week. And I love that Gaston's got a good fan club here in the stream chat. Thank you guys all for jumping in here and participating. I don't necessarily understand everything you're saying, but you're always welcome. And again, I've got Google Translate up later, so if Gaston ends up in that top 3, we can at least ask the question. Tell us about your race.
I love to see it. I love to see that live stream chat blowing up. It's great. What kind of fuel Terry's running there? That thing's breathing fire pretty heavy already.
Little rich. Just on a warm-up lap. Headers are awfully hot.
Perfect.
Pace car is pulling in here momentarily. We're going to be underway in just a moment. Field working the final corner, turn 14 and 15. Yeah, they call that last bend a turn. Field coming up to speed. Terry Crouch leads them into turn number 1. On to turn 3, down the back straightaway. Into turn number 4, field snaking its way down the backstretch. We call it the backstretch. I guess it's the chute after turn 3, so we'll go with backstretch. It looks that way on my map. Again, you're dealing with 2 broadcasters that do a lot of oval racing, so.
We'll do our best, right?
Crouch with the point. It's already stretched it to 3/4 of a second over Josh Lucas. James Vance into that third spot. Made up 3 positions on the start. Good jump for James Vance.
He's not wasting any time, that's for sure.
Well, you really have to take advantage. And again, talking about James Vance, I know we mentioned this almost every broadcast, but it's worth noting. You know, James has some real-world experience. He's currently driving an LMP3 with Fast MD Racing in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series. So he has real-world experience. Timing that restart or start, something that they certainly practice and do quite often. There's positions to be gained there, and it's clearly evident. He took advantage of it right away here as we complete lap number 1. Daniel Clark out of New York State, also driving a BMW. Still quite a few of them in the field today. Just wondering if we were going to get things to switch up just a bit. Sean Roberts in the Shenandoah Shine Porsche losing his spot to Kevin Burrows in the BMW. Now, this race starting when it did here, again, it's going to be a 1-hour event. We may see the need or usage of headlights before this one is over. Won't be completely dark, but I would imagine the sun is going to set right about this time, right about the time this race ends.
That would be pretty neat to see.
Certainly does change the characteristics of the track, especially handling. Track temperature right now, it's 81 degrees. Humidity still up there though at 92%.
Terry Crouch with a 132.69. It's a pretty good start.
132.69 for Crouch. Yeah, that's moving. That's quality pace. Relatively uneventful here early on from Interlagos. Again, Terry Crouch jumped out front early because Gaston Masroni had to go to the tail of the field before this one got underway. Let's check on Gaston though. He's already up to the 16th spot.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see him come up through this field. He's got plenty of time.
He's working on Chris Goins here now. He's got 5 or 6 car lengths before he catches the back of the Lamborghini, but man, does he gain a lot of time onto the brakes. Looks like that was down into turn 12.
See what kind of run he gets here off the draft.
Looks like Chris Goins just let him have it there. You heard the Lamborghini get out of the throttle a little bit earlier than the BMW. Masroni up into P15, now going to be 14 as he takes that spot from Kevin Burrows. He's got to be aggressive. Again, only a 1-hour race. Chris Pio in the Ford just ahead of him.
It's like he's not giving it up easy.
No, he's certainly not, and it kind of threw off Gaston a bit, it seems, because Kevin Burrows has gone back around and taken that position away. Gaston back on the attack again to the driver's left of Burrows into the right-hander. This will be turn 10. Doesn't get the run out that he needs. Kevin Burrows is certainly no slouch. We actually raced with him as well in Daytona, along with Terry Crouch, Brett Guzik. Again, it really is a shame that Brett's not running this.
Yeah, I think Brett would be a force to be reckoned with. He is fast.
Looking back at lap 1 here, looks like Andy Spicer had a moment. This was back in the 21st position. Justin Wilkinson, maybe the same. Yep, BMW was around. And Justin had another incident on lap 4. Let's see what happens here. This goes wide off the track.
Overcooked it just a little bit.
Good job keeping it out of the Armco.
Quite the gaggle of cars here.
Quite the opposite of a gaggle out front. Terry Crouch just out here running qualifying laps. He's put 2.6 seconds on the BMW of Josh Lucas. Continues to stretch that advantage.
Terry definitely fastest car on track at a 33.2 that last lap. See what he runs coming across this time.
.33.7 for Terry Crouch the last time by. And I think at this point he's just realized, okay, I've got a gap. This is what I've got back to Joshua Lucas. He's going to manage that gap the best that he can. No need to push it at this point. He currently has the fastest lap, it looks like. Yes, he does. So no need to put the car in danger. So he's going to be out here, just maintain that gap back to second place, continue to do so until he makes his first scheduled pit stop, which should be just one. And I would imagine, I think it's going to be about 21 laps total before we'll see that car head down pit lane, though that could be slightly different depending on the fuel load that they were offered this evening. It does vary from race to race. Taking a quick peek at things here, they do have a 70% fuel load, so it may be, I don't know, they might run 2 pit stops here. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to go the full distance without 2. Something we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the course of the race.
Yeah, that might be close. It's going to be very interesting.
Gaston Masroni now up to P12. Finally made do of Kevin Blue and Chris Pio. Kevin Burrows actually slid back a bit to P16.
Whew, almost 3 wide. Oh, contact.
It's time to go. We talked about this, man. It's only an hour race. This is a major sprint for these guys, and trying to make up that kind of time on a guy like Terry Crouch is going to be very, very difficult. Yes, Gaston did have a tick more pace than Terry in qualifying, but we're talking 10/1000ths of a second. Gaston's going to need a whole lot more laps than you can tick off in 1 hour to catch Terry at that rate. Brett Crouch in the Mercedes runs P9.
That green Ferrari might be off pace. He might be experiencing some sort of issue.
Nick Batista, that is. I don't know if he was necessarily off pace or if he was just giving up the spot, knowing that that was for position. He's not on the lead lap. fact, let's go back to lap 5. He did have an off-track excursion.
It almost looks like that thing's not tracking very straight. You see him weaving back and forth.
He's fighting the steering on the car. We gotta maybe back it up a little further and see if we can get a better idea of what really happened here with Nick Batista. He's off in the grass a bit. He's way off here. Maybe he's just struggling.
Did he catch the Armco here on the left side? Let's see, it almost looked like he was close to it. Touch the grass on the braking. Oh, yeah. Oh, that'll do it. Yeah, that's expensive. That'll do it.
Not good for a Ferrari.
That's all it takes, though. Just a couple blades of grass under braking, and it just sends you for a ride.
Man, Gaston is just flying up through the field. He's already up to P10. Hasn't been able to stretch his legs yet, though. Best lap for Gaston is a 33:39. Almost a full second shy of Terry Crouch's best. But he's doing that in traffic, so that's an impressive lap regardless.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
It's amazing how wide they swing out for their entry into the corner. They have the all four tires to the right of that curbing on corner exit.
And I love a track like this too, Steve, where they get rid of the grass. You know, they put the, they kind of widen out the track a little bit so you can run out there. Now, I don't know if it counts as an off-track or not, but...
Well, it may, but it may not, because looking at Gaston, he only has one off-track to this point.
These passes for the 3-car are going to start to get harder and harder as he gets closer to these real fast guys.
100%, especially getting into here on Brack Crouch. I mean, first GT3 season, Brack won a race or two for sure. He's got some pace. Of course, there's some much faster guys in here this season than we've had to deal with, so he's back there running in the 9th spot. But he's not going to be easy to get around.
Look at that braking.
Brack able to really drive out of the corner a lot better than Gaston. And the sun is just killer coming up the hill, though. Right in the driver's eyes.
I love this section of the track, the left, right, back to left. It's very, very technical.
And Gaston is just a monster on the brakes. Meanwhile, Terry Crouch, his advantage as the leader, 6.3 seconds back to P2. Now, with that said, if Terry ends up winning this, well, he's going to get that old dreaded EOL penalty again. And next week, we're out at Suzuka. Definitely a rhythm racetrack, but certainly a place you do not want to be in the back. Track position going to be very important there. That's going to be a tough one for Terry.
Man, I love that track. That's one of the hardest tracks to pass on, though.
It is a fun place. In fact, we ran there season 1, and I was dreading it. I almost didn't race it just because I just don't want to do this tonight. And, well, lo and behold, they ended up winning the thing. Gaston goes to the inside into one here, takes the position away from Brad Crouch.
We used to run just countless laps back in the Forza days on the Suzuki E-Circuit. And, boy, we had a lot of fun at that place.
See, if I'm going to run Suzuka, I want to be on the Grand Prix layout. It's just, I don't know. It's what I remember over the years. I mean, that circuit has been in video games going all the way back to the pole position 2 days. I mean, that thing's been a part of this for a long time, and that's just what I've known. It's what I'm used to.
Curious to see what kind of gap the 3-car here puts on Brack. If he starts to pull away or not.
Well, he's starting to get a little bit here, but it's only a couple car lengths right now. Next on his list is going to be Dave Seats, and again, as we've said, the closer and closer you get towards the front, the harder the passes become. Dave Seats shown some pace here in the last couple of races. He's going to be difficult to get around, even if you are as fast as the 3 is. Kevin Burrows now in the 13th spot. He was as low as 16th just a couple of laps ago. Somebody off track behind him. That's Kevin Blue. Kevin Blue started P13. He slipped now back to that 14th position. I think he was 12th at the time of that off track he had there through the grass. Again, no damage to the BMW. He's lost a couple of spots from it. While Brandon Domain running in the 15th position. He started 18th, making some forward progress. Randall White up in P6. He started 10th. "13 laps in here from Interlagos, approaching the 19-minute mark of 60. Back to Chris Goins running in that 17th position. Making laps, being solid and consistent here. He's running where he qualified, but so far so good. Chris did ask us not to cover him tonight because it seems to be bad luck, but well, here we are.
You know, I think Chris is just happy to get the hell away from Bristol.
Chris Goins, a oval racer as well. He's finishing up a race at Bristol Motor Speedway last night in the No Bull Racing Series.
Road racer, oval racer, painter, man does it all.
Sells cars.
Sells cars, yeah.
Sean Roberts closing in.
Sean Roberts, he usually streams these races to YouTube, ends up uploading them usually, I think, maybe an hour or two after the race, so it's always worth a watch to head over to Sean Roberts on YouTube and check him out.
Once again, Chris Elliott in the stream chat saying, Goins for president. It's like deja vu. I think last week, that's right about when Chris had his problems, as soon as somebody said that.
It was within 3 seconds, if I remember right. It was Tristan Sykes' timing. It was great.
hear Roberts feathering the throttle there up the hill. It's wide open now.
Boy, feathering the gas going uphill, Steve, that says one thing to me. Eco mode.
Listening to it, it sounds like he's burping the throttle in between shifts too. You hear that?
Yeah, I do. That's interesting.
Which with these cars you really don't have to, because they're programmed essentially to auto blip for the driver. They don't need the lift or anything. Just click the paddle and go. Meanwhile, Chris Goins starting to stretch it out over Sean Roberts. I don't know if he's catching the slipstream off the back of Piazza, number 71 Time Slice Motorsports Audi.
Are down pit road. Wonder what's going on.
Brandon Domain down pit lane. Get only 22 minutes in. Seems early for a pit stop.
Does. It really does.
But taking tires. But with that said, I mean, I talked about it early on. They may need to make 2 stops. Unless he's just way early, that could be the case. But with that, we're going to jump out and get our first HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a thing. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to Interlagos. Race number 3, the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. Terry Crouch still out in front, inherited the top spot after Gaston Masroni had to go to the tail end of the field for his end-of-line penalty, win penalty for last week. That goes away after today. He'll be able to start where he qualifies next week, so hopefully things work out better for him at Suzuka. But it's not going so shabby now. He's running P7. 26 minutes in. Again, we are past, well, we're not quite past halfway yet, so these guys are going to need to start planning their pit stops. We did see a couple of drivers hit pit lane. I don't know if that's because of an incident on track or damage. We did see at least one driver come down and get pit service, fuel, and tires, but that was pretty early. If it continues the way that they have been, if that's the case, they're going to make 2 stops before this race is over. Very interesting strategy. As we've seen for the most part, all these races end up being a one-stop race.
And I don't see any real advantage to having super fresh tires. You know, pitting that early to get fresh tires, I just don't see it making that big of a difference.
Well, realistically, I mean, you shouldn't have to stop for tires the first time. If this is a 2-stop race, you might consider taking them that second stop. And I say that because even on full fuel, the handling of the car felt pretty good at the end of the run. I don't know if it would be okay halfway through the second stint if you tried to double stint your tires, but here, as we said, we're on 70% fuel. So there's absolutely no need to take tires on that first stop if you are indeed running a 2-stop strategy. So fuel only the first time, or you could go the other direction, vice versa. It doesn't really matter, but no fuel the first time. I'm sorry, no tires the first time, and then get tires on the final stop just to get you all the way to the end. Or if you're brave, you try and push it. Don't take tires at all just for that added track position, but your pace is going to suffer likely at the end of that second stint.
And if you're that 3-car, Steve, do you purposely not take tires just to gain everything you can, maybe even gain a position if possible?
Well, I mean, if you're a guy like Gaston Masroni, clearly you've got pace, you're fast. I say you chance it. I mean, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but there's really only a handful of guys here in this series that can really contend with a guy like Gaston Masroni. Of course, Terry Crouch being one of them. But he's the type of guy that can probably get it done without taking tires. Yes, it's going to be a challenge. Yes, it's going to be a handful. And if Terry opts for those tires, he's going to have his hands full if they end up having to come down to a battle. But it remains to be seen because, again, Terry's got a 9-second advantage over second place right now. Gaston's back 22 seconds. So it's essentially the equivalent of the time they would spend in the pit box for tires and fuel. So we'll see if he decides to do it or not.
You know what's interesting too, Steve, is that last lap time, Gaston running a 33.89 in traffic, adjusting his line constantly, trying to make the pass, and Terry up there running a 33.87.
So think about that, though. Terry's running that 87. Is he doing it just to save tires?
I think so. I mean, we both know Terry. He's very smart behind the wheel. If he's out there in front, which, I mean, almost a 10-second lead, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be saving my stuff, knowing I'm going to have to pit anyway.
And looking at Gaston, again, going from the tail all the way to P6 where he's at now, battling for P5. He's got Alexis Mandrakia just ahead of him. For how long? Not long.
Not long.
Now he's P5, but he's had to abuse that tire a bit throughout this race. I mean, again, he's smart about it. He knows how to take care of them, but there's only so much you can do when you're in traffic, at a deficit, knowing that you have to make up that ground on a guy that's awfully fast. You know, I think Terry's saving his stuff right now just for the fact that, well, maybe I just don't take tires. Build an even bigger cushion between him and the 3. Or takes them anyway. We're past halfway, so that takes the 2-stop strategy out of the equation.
Yeah, he's got enough of a gap that he could pretty much do whatever he wants, I think. If I was the 3-car, knowing that I've kind of abused my tires getting up through traffic, I might take the tires. And then maybe that last, if you have to stop for fuel, splash and go or whatever, just, you know, keep the set I have on and go for it.
Well, that's where he's at now, though. And if we're at 30 minutes and 30 seconds, we're past halfway. He's definitely got enough fuel on board that he can make one stop and make it to the end. Now, the question is, how much longer is that 4-tire stop with the fuel? Because, again, with that recent iRacing update, they will change tires simultaneous to fueling the car. But with a 70% fuel load, you're still in the box a lot less time-wise than you would normally with that full fuel load for endurance racing. So you got to kind of play it by ear. I'm sure some of these guys have already taken that opportunity to figure out, okay, how long does a 4-tire stop take? How long does fuel only take? What do I really need to do here? We had some guys, first race of the season at Road America, taking 3 tires because it was the exact amount of time it took to change 3 tires and get the car full.
That's the weirdest thing ever.
I will say that the guy that did that, pretty sure he won the race.
I tell you, I mean, that's doing your homework.
And guys like Terry Crouch are good at doing homework.
Oh, absolutely.
Give a call to James Vance. Again, up to P3. He's been there since the drop of the green flag. Took advantage of that early start. Got a couple of spots, but man, he's got someone all over the back bumper. That's Nick Ciccato. Nick looking to the driver's left. Not enough room to make the move, but this is the battle on track for 3rd position.
Vance is he's one of the hardest guys to pass. He makes his car super wide. No matter what line he takes, he's still fast. It's really hard to get past him. He's a heck of a racer.
That's the thing too, is we talked about his real life education, or real life experience, I should say, as far as racing is concerned. Very accustomed to driving a prototype car, not so much GT3 type vehicles. And I'll tell you, last season they ran the LSR Sports Car Series. He was running that prototype, and man, he was tough to beat.
Just pure racecraft.
Ciccato looking to the outside now, up the hill. Nick's got some pace here. I think he's going to have him into 1.
I think so. If he could survive the first left. Might try a crossover.
Oh.
Tight racing. Great. Should have a run here, though.
And down the back straightaway. Vance is good about taking that lane away. He's not really throwing aggressive blocks, but he's just positioning the car in the right spot. Take away that preferred lane for the driver behind.
It's that racing instinct, too, Steve. If he knows if that fender is within the inside or not. The car behind, if he can fake him out as much as he wants, but if Vance takes that inside defensive line, he's not going to get the same apex and exit through that corner.
It's only going to take one small mistake for the 87 to give that spot to Nick Ciccato. And I think Vance knows that Gaston's coming as well. He is the next car behind Nick Ciccato. So as long as he can keep Nick behind him, that's a benefit to James Vance. Real loose out of the corner, a little oversteer on the BMW.
Oh, it'd be great if Gaston could get up here. It'd be a 3-car battle.
Oh, that's going to be fun to watch. We've got time for it. And only 34 minutes in, 25 remain. Right on board with Nicholas Ciccato for the 3rd position. He battles with James Vance just up ahead. Remember, pit stop's still coming soon for these guys. None of them have seen pit lane, at least all the way back to the 16th spot, Mike Piazza. Randall White, though, TLDR Sim Sport BMW, he's in the pit lane from 11. That's the thing, too. If you're Nick Ciccato, you got to be so careful to not get frustrated. Push too hard, make a mistake, you get too much heat in the tires, and then you can't make that charge. You got to cool them off. Gap's going to build between you and the car in front again. And then you got to do it all over again.
That's it. Sometimes you get so into trying to pass somebody that you end up heating your stuff up and basically burning it up.
Looks like James is starting to stretch it back out. Nick might be giving the tires a break or considering hitting pit lane here soon. Chris Goins has crashed, lap ago. He's still in it. Might be down into turn one. I don't know if he just got the brakes too hard. Oh, contact.
Ooh.
I think that was Brandon Domain, I believe.
Kind of perfect timing with that roof line to let us see what happened there.
One more angle. We've got a camera on the cell tower down into turn one, and there it is. Just turns left right into him. I don't know if he just didn't see Goins to his inside. Thought he had more space.
Hopefully they didn't damage the two cars too much. Looks good.
Looks pretty clean.
It's a tough Lambo.
Nick Ciccato going after James Vance again down into turn number one. Some drivers opting for pit lane. Randall White, Brad Crouch have all pitted. Kevin Burrows as well. Still the top 8 remain on the racetrack. Sun beginning to set here in Sao Paulo. Ooh, Vance loses connection for a moment. That's scary. A big moment for James Vance.
Boy, that's the scariest thing when you're the second car in line and that happens.
Well, especially here on road courses, because you got to make sure you nail your braking zone and don't overshoot it thinking there's nobody there, because lo and behold, it's going to happen. You're going to be late on the brakes, and all of a sudden that car is going to appear in your front radiator.
And a whole bunch of 4Xs to follow.
Yeah. Gaston's closing in on this duo, battling for position. It's really helping him close that gap. At the stripe, just over 20 minutes remain here from Interlagos. We continue to watch this battle between third place James Vance and fourth Nicholas Ciccato. This all happening in front of fifth place Gaston Masroni. It's gone from the tail end of the field up into the top 5. We're going to jump out and get our final HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way so we can take you all the way to the checkered flag. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to Interlagos in Sao Paulo. Watching a battle now for the third or second position, that is. Pit stops underway as well with the leaders. Vance now up into the second position. Masroni turns Vance into the corner. They make contact. Vance straightens it back out, but Masroni's like, it's time to go. Vance loses 2 spots. Now Masroni up into P2. Pit stop still to happen. Oh my, oh my.
Time to go.
I don't know if there was just a late block there and Masroni was there or what happened. We're going to take a look at it here in a moment. I think they might be coming to pit lane here, though. Indeed, they are.
So these two might see each other again real soon.
So Masroni, Vance, Dave Seats all in pit lane. Now here's the answer to the question. Does Gaston take the tires or not? Yes, he does. Car up on the jacks. Which with 15 minutes remaining, I'm surprised. I mean, you kind of know he had to, but this stint being a 70% fuel load, not as long as you would have run. I mean, really a full stint in an endurance race. It's about an hour with these cars, roughly. Maybe 54 minutes. He's down and away.
You see, he was in front of him.
Vance gets out. Looks like possibly no tires for Vance. So again, that's the thing that surprises me. But now you've got Gaston Masroni behind you with fresh rubber.
But then you have an angry Vance that was just moved out of the way in front of him. So this is the best case scenario right here for some action.
Terry Crouch down to the pit lane. Here's the other question to be answered as darkness begins to set here at the Speedway. Lights are on and aglow. So is the rear end of that car. Tires for Crouch.
Look at that. I think it's just the safe way to go for Crouch. Why not?
Well,
He's
now,
got the time.
yeah, I mean, it's a wash, and I know some of these guys may have overlays running to know that, Masroni may have taken those tires. He may be aware of that fact, which if he had a full pit crew and such, he would be able to get that information as it is. So knowing that Gaston took 4, used that extra time, well, that means Terry can as well. Long stop, though, 28.32 seconds. Might have taken too much fuel.
Now, Nicholas already pit, right?
Nick Ciccato has yet to see pit lane.
Okay, all right.
So it looks like Ciccato and Pio, the only two left to hit their pits, and Pio down there right now. Oh, he's got the blinky lights.
Yeah, a little squad car action. That's sweet.
Looks like Pio's going fuel only. So we'll see where he lands here. He came into the pits in 11th. We'll see if that's a benefit for him later on. But down and away goes Chris Pio, 12.63 seconds.
Boy, that's a ton faster.
Now Nick Ciccato still needs to see pit lane for fuel at a minimum. But now I'm kind of wondering, is he going to wait until he's on his last drop of fuel to hit pit lane and not take tires? Maybe that's the play for Ciccato. See what kind of finish he can get by doing that. Looks like he's coming right now. Man,
I'm not sure if...
fast coming into pit lane there.
Yeah, they know their marks, don't they? Now, I'm not sure if Josh Lucas took tires. He really gained a lot of time on Terry. I'm thinking he maybe just took fuel.
Yeah, fuel only for Lucas, 14.58 seconds. He's not changing 4 tires in that amount of time.
It's really his only play to get back up close to Terry.
Ciccato went fuel only as well, 10.75 seconds, so let's see what that does. Multiple strategies at play here at Interlagos. Back out front, Terry Crouch cycles back to the lead over Josh Lucas. 3.1 second advantage. It was upwards of over 10 at the time of the pit stop. Again, Terry did take a lot of extra time in his pit box. 28 seconds. Slowest pit stop out of all the drivers, the exception of Bill Mulfeld with a 38-second stop, but that was a lap 27. Don't know if there was repairs involved there. That could have been the case.
I think that was a good play by Lucas. He's in position now that if Terry makes a mistake, and I know that rarely happens, but if it were to happen, he's there close enough to make a difference.
Got to get close enough to tug on Superman's cape, but he is certainly not infallible. We saw a mistake made by him in a preseason race at Daytona. I think it was a lap or two in. Coming out of the second horseshoe, got in the grass, lost the car, spun across the track in front of, I think it was Sean Roberts, if I remember correctly. We got a car off the track. Chris Goins in trouble.
Couldn't tell if that was a Lamborghini or a deer.
Chris Goins. This may have been trying to get to pit lane. Certainly going down now. Let's take a look, see what happened with Chris Goins. Oh,
Grass.
catches the grass. Oh, big time impact, too. And this right in front of Terry Crouch.
Oh, man.
See, goes by right here. Nope, that's the poor Sean Roberts. Now here comes Terry.
And see, that's the thing about Chris Goins. He's got his relative up. He's not going to try to turn around in front of these guys. He's
also in VR, and he's probably looking out that left window.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's the most selfless driver. You know, he's not going to pull out in front of somebody.
So Terry Crouch still your race leader, 3.4 seconds back to second place running Josh Lucas. Then Nick Ciccato with that no tire stop puts himself back on the podium for now. 10 minutes remain here at the racetrack. Interlagos here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we didn't even catch it with the incident we saw with pit stops and then Chris Goins, but James Vance already back in the 8th position. Gaston Masroni up to P6, so made short work of Vance, though. Vance did take fuel only on his stop, but that might be the big difference. Masroni's last lap, a 34.57, which not too stout, really, considering he's on fresh tires, but a full fuel load. James Vance, a 35.90, so both drivers not really moving around here quickly. Again, full fuel, putting some weight back in the race car. Continues to get darker here at Interlagos. Lights are on. Certainly nothing new for these drivers, accustomed to racing at night. GT3 cars, no stranger to 24-hour endurance racing. Brett Crouch and Randall White. This is for the 4th position. We're going to have a 3-car battle here between these BMWs before you know it, because Gaston Masroni closing in. Kevin Bloom, Chris Pio have crashed. Let's get a look. Looks like Ford just got on the throttle a little bit sooner than he anticipated Kevin would.
And you can definitely tell it was a total accident the way Chris stopped and let him get back in front of him. That's pretty good etiquette. You don't see that very often anymore, Steve.
No. Back in my day.
Especially in Bristol.
Yeah, right. So Kevin Blue running the 14th spot, still hanging about right where he started in 13th, so he's only down one position. Certainly the contact with Chris Pio did not help things. Let's put Justin T. Wilkinson ahead there in that 13th position. Wilkinson started 21st, so good run for him so far. As we close in on 6 minutes remaining. Well, there we have it. Now it's a three-car battle. Randall White, Brett Crouch, Gaston Masroni, 4, 5, and 6.
It's going to be good.
I just don't think Gaston's going to have enough time to get up into the podium. Right now it's Crouch, Lucas, and Cucato.
Yeah, it's just too much of a gap from 4th to 3rd, unfortunately.
Oh, dives it down to the bottom. Brack being real aggressive here late in the running. Brack knows Gaston is going to be quick. He is right there. He's ready to pounce at any mistake. Can also take advantage of Brack trying to make a move for that position. You almost think that Brack abandoning the attack mode here on 4th place and go into defense to keep Gaston behind him might be the best play. Travis Martin off track.
Bad luck for these Lambos tonight.
Three-car battle for the 4th position. It's Randall White who has it. Brett Crouch, then Gaston Masroni. All in equal equipment here. Again, they're all running the fixed high downforce setup, all running a BMW, so it's going to really come down to who's the better driver here. Brack wants to go. He's definitely faster than Randall White right now and just doesn't have a good way to get around.
He knows if he makes a move there.
Makes a big move side by side. They make a little bit of contact. This is the middle of turn 10.
Gaston doesn't know which lane to take.
Well, this is what I said. He was going to try and make a move for the position, and Gaston was going to take advantage, and he's done just that. Down into turn 12. Brack pulls it out, but he gets in the grass.
Ooh. Not going to get the run to the straightaway. That's the difference maker.
I tell you, Randall White's watching this in his rearview mirror going, yeah, keep it up, boys.
Yep, stay back there as long as you want.
Less than 3 minutes remain. Gaston takes the spot from Brett Crouch, moved the 3 up to P5. That's it too, because Gaston's got the fresh tires. Randall White and Brett Crouch both went fuel only. What do you think, Zach? You think he's going to catch Randall here and get this spot before we're done?
I think he's going to catch him, but I'm anxious to see how wide White's car is going to be for these final 2 minutes.
Randall White, TLDR SimSport driver, usually pretty clean. Not known for being overly aggressive. Gaston, however, late in this race has shown a propensity for violence.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, too. White has the pace, too. It's not like he's substantially slower.
Then it could be a situation like we saw earlier with James Vance, just being able to meticulously take away that preferred lane for the driver in tow.
It's going to come right down to these last few laps.
White flag in the air.
White. Oh, it is the last lap. All right. Hopefully white turned. Oh, there it is. Never mind.
Did it the right way. Set him up, outbroke him into the corner. White battles back, but it's not going to be enough. Or is it? Gaston's going to need a couple of corners to get away here.
It's going to have the run. Defensive line by Gaston.
White's going to try and beat him on the brakes. New tires versus old, not going to be able to do it.
Crossover.
Gaston overcooked it in the corner. Now they're side by side again. This is the battle for the 4th position. Terry Crouch may finish this one before we get a chance to go back and watch. Still side by side for position. Well, Terry through turn 12.
New tires, Steve. New tires.
Terry Crouch up the hill for the final time through turn 15. It's been a dominating performance. Headlights flashing, checkered flag waving. Terry Crouch wins race number 3 from Interlagos. While Gaston Masroni has battled back all the way to the 4th position. Randall White has gotten around Brad Crouch. Some great battles that we got to see here tonight. That was a blast.
Yeah, some great racing.
Terry Crouch, your race winner. Working his way around on the cool down.
Look how clean that car still is.
I don't think he saw anybody all day.
Yeah, just cruise control.
Just waving at Barney every time he crosses the start-finish line.
Yep.
All right, folks, we're going to jump out here, get a break out of the way before we get our top 3 up in the broadcast booth. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
met Mark.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Interlagos Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. Race number 3 is complete. Terry Crouch, your race winner. Pull him up into the broadcast booth here and get a word. The driver of the 59. Terry, it's Steve and Zach in the booth. You got a good copy?
Yeah, you guys got me?
Got you loud and clear, sir. Again, congratulations on a dominant performance here in Sao Paulo. I know it would have been a little more fun, I think, to watch you and Gaston battle it out at the very beginning, but it was still fun to watch him work his way from the tail all the way up into P4. But let's talk about your race. Again, obviously you chose last week to stick with the McLaren. How did that thing handle around out here? It's the only one we saw in the field, but you still brought it home P1 with some fast laps. Walk us through your race.
It was going really well right up until the pit stop. I put a lot of thought into the strategy and figuring out. I knew that, no tires, just straight fuel would be about 11 seconds, 2 tires would be about 14, and 4 would be about 20. So I had an idea on what I was going to take based on if I had a lead or what track position I needed to make up. And I messed with some JRT settings, and what it did was uncheck my fuel as soon as I hit my stall. So I had to take tires, and I wasn't fueling, so I had to cancel 2 tires, take fuel, and then I had to drive around the last 15 minutes of the race with no rears but all grippy front, so I almost spun out 5 or 6 times. Just tried to keep it alive.
Well, you just had to make it harder for yourself, I guess. Either way, it was still a great performance. Little snafu on the strategy, but you still brought it home P1. Next week, well, you get the dreaded EOL penalty, that win penalty we got to deal with, and it's at Suzuka. What are your thoughts rolling into Japan next week?
I love Suzuka because it's built to test every technique that a sim racer has. Whether it's trail braking problems, if you have a weakness anywhere, it's going to get exposed. And there's lots of places to pass and lots of places to get killed. I really liked it last week with the EOL up until I died. But it was fun kind of coming through the field and mixing it up with guys. And it's just luck of the draw. Thank goodness we have a couple drop weeks for points,
Well, it's going to be fun to watch regardless. And again, the only drawback I'm seeing, at least at this point in the season, to the win penalty is the 2 fast guys that would typically start at the front of the field. They're bookending the field. So we don't get to see those battles that we look forward to so much. But it's still entertaining to watch you guys kind of knife your way through the field. Certainly wish you luck next week to do so.
Thank you. And I know a lot of the other guys are like right there. It's a little bobble here and there, so somebody could steal a win from one of us, but it sure seems like we're just going to flip-flop weeks and see who makes the fewest mistakes or gets killed the least trying to come through the field each week.
That's all you can do. Well, Terry, again, congratulations on the win here tonight. We're going to let you go and try to get Nick Ciccato up here. Anyone we need to shout out to?
Oh, as always, the wife, the daughter. I got grandkids that are starting to watch these now, and my boys at the Sim Pit and TLDR Sim Sport, and always you, because these are always fun to watch back and see what happened back in the race that I couldn't see from my cockpit.
Well, Terry, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week, starting from the rear at Suzuka.
Thanks, man.
It's Terry Crouch, your race winner. We don't have Josh Lucas just yet, but we'll see if we can pull Nick Ciccato up into the broadcast booth. Let's see if we can move him up here. Nick, it's Steve and Eric in the booth. You got a good copy? How about Zach and Steve in the booth? You got us there, Nick?
Yes, hi.
Congratulations on 3rd place. Tell us about your night.
Thanks. Well, it was a fun race. I tried to stay away from the battle and do my own race. I tried to stay close to Joshua and James, but later I believe James started to struggle with the tires, and we lost Joshua. But I know that I could take advantage on the pit stop, and luckily that's what happened. So yeah, happy with the third place.
Well, either way, it was fun to watch the battle with yourself and James. Also, if you want to give part of this interview in your home language, feel free to do so.
No, we're okay in English.
All right, Nick. Well, thanks for talking to us. What are your thoughts going into Suzuka next week?
It's a race that I like to watch, not to drive, but let's see what happens next week.
Well, as Terry Crouch said, a lot of skills will be tested next week at Suzuka. We wish you the best of luck. Again, thanks for talking to us. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank all the guys of the team: Gaston, Alfredo, Alex, and Matias. We train together for every race, so yeah, it's also fun to race with them.
All right, Nick. Well, once again, thanks for coming up here and chatting with us. Good luck next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
It's Nick Coccato, your third place finisher, and it looks like we are going to get to Josh. I think he is in the green room. We'll pull him up and talk to our runner-up. Josh, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
I gotcha. Thanks.
Josh, congratulations on P2 here tonight. Solid finish, man. Talk us through it. Your plans, your strategies. Was there tires? Was there no tires? Fuel only? And then look forward to Suzuka next week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just tried to stay away from everybody. Took right sides, trying to get a good exit onto the straight and hopefully just be far enough ahead to avoid a battle.
Certainly see a bunch of you guys running the BMW. It seems to be pretty balanced. Is it more about being under the brakes that it seems to handle best? Is it across the board? How was it coming up the hill out of that final corner? Was it a little hairy? Did it give you any kind of indication of oversteer on power?
Not too much with the BMW. I've tried other cars here. BMW definitely seems to be pretty well balanced, but it's never fun going through the last one. You never feel like you hit it right. So I know I was just trying to hang on to, whatever it would give me.
Well, you got the P2, so I'd say that's a pretty solid runner-up finish. Next week, again, we go to Suzuka. What are your thoughts about Suzuka out there in Japan? That one's going to be tough.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I've had a rough last couple weeks in this series, so a lot of mistakes. Hopefully just another run like this one.
Well, certainly some positive momentum going forward into next week's race. Congratulations again on P2 today. Josh, anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Jordan and Taylor. They helped me out a lot running laps in these cars, so appreciate them. And thank you guys. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Josh. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
It's Josh Lucas, your runner-up. Did things a little bit backwards, out of order, trying to get guys up into the interview room, but nonetheless, we got all three, so we do appreciate that. This was a fun one. I mean, they're all fun. We had some lulls, but man, I'm telling you, I'm missing seeing these battles that we could be having between the fast guys, Terry Crouch and Gaston Masroni. Obviously, we see them kind of battle it out for the pole in qualifying, but that's the only time we got to see them together tonight. And then next week, it's kind of role reversal. Terry's going to go to the back. Gaston's going to be likely up towards the front. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing about the winning penalty. You like to see the different guys win, but I mean, I don't know. You kind of want to see the fast guys battle it out and go for the win. I think it's going to be a pretty fun finale, if anything. I know that's how the Radicals went, where you had all the fast guys start together and race together the whole time.
And you look at it here, like you were saying, we do the win penalty thing just because you don't want to see the same guys winning all the time. But with the win penalty, it just means that the same guys are going to alternate the win every time. So it's kind of a catch-22. Yeah, you alternate it, and you got to make it interesting for the guys that are in the back to kind of work their way through the slower traffic that's at the tail end of the field. But everyone's got their own race going on as well. You hear that old cliche that every league needs its good lappers to be a successful league. I mean, that's just a fact. You got to have other guys to work your way by. The faster traffic has to sneak its way on by the slower traffic and so on and so forth. But I don't know. I would almost like to see these two start the race up front and just watch them fight it out. You never know. Maybe that'd be enough of a win penalty right there, because maybe they take each other out.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, with that, we're going to take a look at our race results here and then move on to next week. Of course, we talked to our top three: Terry Crouch, Josh Lucas, Nick Ciccato. Fourth was Gaston Masroni, a great drive to work his way from the tail end all the way up into P4. Maybe things go a little bit differently. He gets that podium finish in P3. I don't know if he tries to take it away from Nick or not, but nonetheless, a solid run for Gaston. Randall White was 5th. Rat Crouch, P6. 7th went to David Seitz. Kevin Burrows was 8th. 9th position went to James Vance. Alex Mandrakia was 10th. 11th went to Dave Tamira. Daniel Clark was 12th. Justin T. Wilkinson, P13. 14th went to Chris Pio. Brandon Domain was 15th. Kevin Blue, P16. Travis Martin, 17th. Andy Spicer was 18th. Mike Piazza, 19th. Chris Goins was 20th. Sean Roberts, 21st. 22nd went to Bill Mulfeld. Nick Batista was 23rd. And Nick Simone credited with the 24th position. I don't believe he took the green flag, so 23 car field here tonight at Interlagos. Lastly, thank you guys all for joining the stream chat, watching the race here, of course, at HBR TV. We try to communicate with you guys in the stream as much as we can. Feel free to chime in. If things are getting a little dull, light us up. Tell us a joke. Ask some questions. Tell us you're watching from Sweden or Sao Paulo or North Carolina. It doesn't matter. We'd love it. It's really cool when we get some international viewers to come in. Usually Haley from Sweden will chime in. We didn't see her tonight. Either way, guys, you're part of the broadcast. It helps us out. So thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. For Zach Millett, I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. Join us again next week. Same time, same channel. This time, Suzuka. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.